on you, you censorious thug. Today, Justin Trudeau's cabinet announced the end of the vaccine mandate required to fly on airplanes in this country. Other than China and North Korea, Canada was the only place in the world that would segregate its citizens this way, punish them. It was clearly a vendetta. Trudeau and his transport minister, Omar Al-Gabra, had repeatedly said that they intend to continue this discrimination, that they were checking the science regularly as if they ever did. So why did Trudeau end the no-fly list for his unvaccinated enemies so precipitously? I should tell you that yesterday, at the same time this story was leaked to CBC and other networks, our reporters in Ottawa, by chance, bumped into Omar Al-Gabra on the streets. They were there for another reason, and they literally bumped into him. Here, it's a 1-minute interaction. You can see Lincoln Jay in there and a very new reporter, literally his first week on the job, William Diaz-Bertium. Take a look at them accosting Omar Al-Gabra and take a look at what Al-Gabra himself says.
Rebel News. What do you think of the fact that Canada is the only country with China and North Korea that doesn't allow unvaccinated citizens to travel through planes?
How are you?
I'm super good. How about you?
I'm fantastic.
Can you answer my question? When will the travel mandates end for unvaccinated citizens? Does Ontario have a different?
Have a good evening.
Does Ontario have a different science than the federal government? Do you have like different scientists?
Have a good evening.
Do you have different scientists?
Have a good evening.
Are you able to answer one question, sir? You've been elected by people.
Sir, is there any hope for unvaccinated travelers to board a plane or a train?
Have a good evening.
Is there any hope, sir?
As I said, science is...
But the science changes. Ontario is not the same as the federal. Do you have different scientists?
Have a good evening.
Different scientists?
Sir, is there any hope for unvaccinated travelers anytime soon?
China and North Korea, sir. When will it end? Is it going to be forever? Forever, sir?
I think that's an embarrassment to the government. I think refusing to answer plain questions like that shows a shiftiness and a lack of transparency. I think it shows an arrogance learned from his boss, Justin Trudeau. But it also suggests that maybe Omar Al-Gabra himself was not involved with the decision to end the mandates. Today, I'm going to take you through some reasons that I think that the no-fly zone was ended for unvaccinated people. And I'm going to tell you why I think it actually happened, not why it should have happened. And I'm also going to point out how there are certain mandates and restrictions on unvaccinated people that remain. I think it all started at the end of January when the trucker convoy broke the false consciousness that this endless lockdown was accepted by all Canadians. See, everyone agreed, right? All the governments in Canada and all the opposition parties, all the media, all the courts, not a single judge had struck anything down. All the businesses, they all propagated this false consciousness that there was unanimity, that everyone in Canada agreed. Point to me someone who didn't. They were just kooks. Well, then the truckers broke that and proved that millions of Canadians didn't agree. They gave a voice to people. And you'll remember the Ash conformity test that we showed you. As long as there's one other person willing to say, the world is mad and I don't agree, that gives everyone else tremendous confidence to say so too. The conformity was shattered by the truckers. Now, that didn't dissuade Trudeau. In fact, it made him angrier. It made him even more vengeful. But it showed Canadians they were no longer alone if they disagreed with Trudeau's civil liberties bonfire and the junk science. And the truckers did have a success. They removed Erin O'Toole, Trudeau's conservative lockdown collaborator. And I say that importantly because his job was to oppose, and he refused to oppose. If it were not for Erin O'Toole agreeing to, assenting to everything that Trudeau did, perhaps we wouldn't have gone as deep down this road, and perhaps we would have gotten out of it sooner. But still, Trudeau persisted. As every other country in the world abandoned their lockdowns and their limitations on flights, Canada went rogue and got harsher. And why not, really? I mean, Jagmeet Singh gave Trudeau an effective majority by promising to prop him up. And look, 99% of journalists were on the take with his bailout. They weren't going to oppose him. No judge stopped Trudeau. Why would he relent? That's the thing about Trudeau. He can be quite petty. To relent would mean to give the truckers a victory. Now, you remember a few weeks ago, I pointed out that WestJet's new CEO, a foreigner, a newcomer to Canada, only on the job a few months, unfamiliar with the submissive obedience of our corporate class, he called for the end of the mandates. It was very exciting, and I thought it would be the perfect moment for others to join in, but his cowardly counterparts at Air Canada and the other airlines knew better than to challenge Trudeau. Every CEO was silent, and even if they hadn't been, who cares? Not Trudeau. It's funny, I'm talking about CEOs. Let me show you about a tweet just today by Perrin Beatty, the head of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Perrin Beatty, who decades ago was actually a cabinet minister himself. So his job was to be an advocate for business. And yet he literally waited till today to come out against vaccine mandates. Until the battle was won, until it was over, he was silent as a mouse for 2 years. Well, I guess he was serving his true masters, not mom and pop shops, not customers, not anything to do with freedom. But I think Amazon loved the last 2 years, and Netflix loved the last 2 years, and Walmart managed to get an exemption for itself. What a gross display of Canadian cowardice. But just like the truckers were an unexpected force, so was an American hockey player, former NHL player turned journalist, Ryan Whitney. I showed you his viral video the other day. He was trapped in Toronto's Pearson Airport for a full day, and he was so exasperated, he made a viral video about it. As you know, it got more than 2 million views. It's a short video. I want to play it for you again because I want to show you the power of this stranger, not even a Canadian. Remember this?
Hey guys, Whit here. I don't even really know what to explain. So for people telling me to drive, I can't drive. They have my bags, they won't give them back. So I had Edmonton to Toronto yesterday. I landed around 3. I then had Toronto to Boston at 8:30. Customs was about 3 hours, got through, flight canceled from Toronto to Boston. All right, at this point now I go and I see there is a 400 person line with 2 Air Canada workers. There's 1 million canceled flights, so everyone's just panicking. So I waited in that line about 6 hours. Near the end of the line, by the way, you know how much my feet hurt? Near the end of the line, they closed it. They just said, oh, you have to go somewhere else. We had to re-enter Canada. We had to go through Canadian customs. So by the time I finally see someone from Air Canada, it's 1 a.m. I said, can I just get my bags? I had a ride to Buffalo all set up, and I had a JetBlue flight from Buffalo. I just need to get out of this country, out of this airport. This is the worst airport on earth. I'm telling you, there's no other airport like this.
That's why we were freed today. Not because of any political party, not because of any judge, not because of the media party, but because the truckers broke the trance the Canadians were in. They broke the false unanimity where the establishment had convinced millions of us that resistance was futile, and then an American sports journalist with a sense of humor pointed out that the emperor had no clothes and that we were living in a terrible way to live. That was an excerpt from my daily TV-style show called The Ezra Levant Show. Each weekday, I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview a fascinating guest. I read some fan mail or hate mail, depends on which I like more, and we end with a video of the day. You can get it all at rebelnewsplus.com.